Yes, let me drink this decaf coffee as if it's gonna do anything to my insides. Hi, my name is MeganBatoon and I just woke up from a nap, which is actually monumental for me because growing up, I was taught that naps are lazy, and how could you have any spare time in a day to be unconscious when you should be working? These are the lies that society tells us. This is the Creative Studio Suite. I'm just adding the word suite to it because it makes it sound nicer. I'm slowly starting to spend a lot of time in this space, so I figured that I would walk you through my design process because I know a ton of DIY channels, and my channel as well is like, we just do a lot of things. And as hard as physical labor is, I think sometimes what's harder is deciding why you're going to do something. Or I felt like this could help people that either really want to know about design or don't know anything and don't care, but are affected by their external circumstances and surroundings. Highly sensitive people, where you at? So I'm gonna take you through the process of what I am feeling in the space and then how I'm going to make it happen in the next couple of months. So strap in, this is a journey that we are all going on together. If this is your first video, welcome. Feel free to subscribe because things are going to get better, as they always do. Anytime I'm designing a space, I have so many different drawings and ideas. Some actually make it and some never see the light of another page. So I think this will be helpful to all of us because it shows that creativity is flexible, and whatever you imagine yourself doing initially is not the same thing that you need to do just because you imagined it. That's one of the coolest things about design, is that you are tailoring your experience to what you want and need. But before I visualize anything, the most important question to me when designing is, how do I want to feel in the space? If I can pinpoint 3 feelings or moods, that is your North Star. Anytime that you get lost along the way, go back to those feelings and it's going to make all of your decisions so much easier. I read this book. It's called My Creative Space: How to Design Your Home to Stimulate Ideas and Spark Innovation. 48 Science-Based Techniques. This was recommended to me by a friend, and it really has so much value in it, and I will share a couple of my favorite parts. When will my voice just like be one full scratch? It's just getting scratchier and scratchier as I grow up. Tactic number 8, put your walls to work. Working walls help you visualize your ideas, assume a bigger picture perspective, stimulate creative exploration, and realize production. I really like the idea of this because if I have all of my information visible at one time and kind of sectioned off into different projects, then I'm able to keep everything in order and not jumbled up in here or in here. The second tactic is be flexible. A creative mind is a flexible mind. A flexible space is a creative space. This is so important because I feel like when we get too wrapped up in what a design looks like, which I have done far too often, we forget that design is meant to solve a problem. The mission is to design a flexible creative space tailored specifically to my needs. So the ability to adapt based off of whatever task I'm doing at hand. I want a corner that I can film in, place that houses all of my swatches and materials, a dedicated space for clothing alteration, apparel, and merch, a place to do administrative tasks, editing or designing on a computer, a place that is removed from all of the work that feels like I could get inspired or just have a break there. At some point in the future, we want to turn this into another living space, kind of like a tiny home ADU vibe. In the 60s, there was something called an action office. This thing was monumental at the time, also too expensive. So this grand idea that would have really helped humans be creative and productive, it got watered down into what we now know as the cubicle. Before it was the cubicle, it really was smart. What I like about the action office is that it has a bunch of different stations for one singular worker. There's a space for you to do desk work. There is a space for standing work. There's a space to have a break. The configuration of an action office encourage movement and fluidity and all of the things that really help us do the things that we want to do. But you know what? We are going to resuscitate the action office in a 2022 creative suite tailored to me way. But first, let's make a mood board. This is my happy place. Milano is my favorite way to put all of my ideas in one place. It's basically like a digital pin board where I can easily copy and paste links or screenshots, and so I can start putting together what the vibe is going to look like. This room currently has this faux brick paneling. I don't want to replace all of this with drywall, and we're trying to do this the cheapest way to make something look expensive. That is truly my motto. So with the lime wash bricks as the basis, impetus to this, I wanted to warm it up because that can be a little bit cold. So in order to warm it up, I'm gonna bring in some really warm rust tones. I really like mixing woods. Growing up, everybody was like, it's a fashion faux pas to wear silver and gold at the same time. And I'm like, but have you tried it? Mixing woods is one of my favorite things to do in order to keep something feeling organic and not one note. Now with all of our mixed wood and these rust and terracotta colors, now we have it being really warm. So I wanted to cool it down a little bit and balance it out. The opposite of red on the color wheel is green. So I'm thinking about doing a green stained concrete. The floors currently in here are just unpolished concrete, which does have a very industrial vibe, which would work with the bricks, but that doesn't feel like me. Also, I started playing bass again out of an act of self-care for my inner child, and my bass is this beautiful forest green, and I want to display that when I'm not practicing. I really want to bring in inspirations that I have seen around the world / in my life and bring them into one space that makes me feel connected to where I've been. Don't forget where I came from, hopeful for the future, and with anything that I could possibly need at any point in time to create in here. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I guess I will make this room a 3D model in SketchUp. That wasn't on my to-do list when I woke up, but now we're here and this is how creativity works. So I'm going to do that, but let's get some fuel first. Full outfit change. Pay no attention to how allergic I am to something outside. As always, shout out to HelloFresh for feeding me, because when I don't make this, I'm eating this. And we just need a little balance in our lives. This is half me taking care of myself and half stalling because I truly forgot how to use SketchUp, so I don't want to relearn the program, so instead I'm gonna make some ravioli. If you're a regular to this channel, this is not new to you. However, information that is new to me is that HelloFresh is the first carbon neutral meal kit company. Nearly all the packaging is recyclable. All of the recipes include pre-portioned ingredients, which means less prep and less wasted food, which is equally as important to me as not wasting my time. I can save time, save money, stress less, because I don't have to meal plan, no trips to the grocery store. It has just helped me make my life so much easier. And whenever I do decide to cook, I know that it's gonna be like 30 minutes. What I'm making here is a vegetarian ravioli. And another thing that I do really like about this is that the produce in all the recipes goes from the farm to my front door in under a week, which means I'm getting the freshest flavors of the season, and eating seasonally is something that I am going to start trying to do more often because that is more natural. Baby steps to transitioning into living and eating how we were supposed to. I also always get the bigger box servings because I or whoever I'm with can eat some of it and then I can use the rest for leftovers so that I don't have to cook again. Because sometimes one time is enough. If you're also drooling like me editing this, go to HelloFresh.com, use my code BATOON16, you'll get 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. And here goes the rest into a container for tomorrow. Again, that's HelloFresh.com, my code is BATOON16, use it and you'll get 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. Finishing salt always. I also, Joe is here and he hates sour cream, and I know you saw how much sour cream was in there, so I'm gonna see if you can taste the 4 packages of sour cream. Let's take it from the leftovers. That boy gonna love it. Okay, I relearned how to use this program, and now is time for the tour. Spoiler alert, almost everything changed from the mood board, which the mood board changed from the prelim drawings, and I will not be surprised if it changes again. This is where we are on this day. Tour time! This is the closest I'll ever get to doing like a Twitch streaming. I'm in the corner! Right when you walk in, we have the big wood wall. It's so warm, natural. I remember we went to this house in Japan called Yoshino Cedar House. It was fully made out of cedar, and it was so calming, zen, earthy, and I really loved that. This wall initially in my mind was going to be all cork because I wanted to be able to use it to display all of those ideas. But the thing is, like, cork is not chic. The chicest cork will ever be is in a wine bottle, and it's the first thing that gets popped off. So the way that I'm going to achieve having a wood panel wall still be functional in a corkboard, pinboard sense, I want to put really strong magnets behind it so that I can use it, but also it looks sleek as just a wood wall. Another thing that I did to the wood is have it wrap around onto the floor. Initially, I wanted to do a polished concrete, but the thing is, One, I didn't want this wood accent wall to be an accent wall. I wanted it to be more integrated into the space and of itself. It felt a little too like placed before. I figure if I lay, which I've never laid flooring before, can't wait. I figure if I lay it horizontally on the floor and then vertically it goes up, it carries your eye upwards, making the space feel taller because of that vertical orientation. Anytime you want to make something look taller than it is, enhance the verticality of it. And anytime you want something to look wider than it is, make the horizontal bolder. For actual walls right now, I just have placeholder white brick. I have this here because it is the cheapest option, especially if I dilute paint with water in order to get a lime wash texture without paying for the lime wash. However, I just don't know how much I want brick right now in my life. Don't know if I'm gonna keep this. Other option that I have, let me know if you like this or prefer the white brick. Not like you're gonna be working in here, but still let me know. There's a technique called troweled plaster. I was thinking maybe I could do that. Essentially, it's just covering up this with plaster and a trowel. I think I might like that because that feels really earthy. I opted out of the desk that I currently have. I feel like we can just move that into the primary bedroom and use it as a writing desk. I really needed something to accommodate all of the different things that I do. I have 2 IKEA organization storage drawers, flanking them on the sides of the walls to create an anchor. And then in the middle, I'm gonna get a smaller version of that just so I can tuck away any odds and ends that end up becoming on the desk in a normal work day. I put a little section for sewing because I do want to start spending a little bit more time tailoring clothes and making things a little bit more customized. And then anytime I want to do a prototype for merch, I can do this in this corner. I have a small hanging garment rack, which we will see if it ends up getting put on the wall. Normally I would want to make the window bigger, but one, I don't really want to replace this window because it is brand new, even though it is a little small. Instead, I decided to play with the view of the window. I really love the feeling of being underground, not underground, but like I love speakeasies, I love secrets, I love being cozy tucked away. A hermit, if you will. First of all, plants are so expensive, and if you're me, they're not gonna stay alive, so I don't wanna spend a lot of money on plants. Here's how I'm gonna get the feeling of a lush garden outside of my window without being a lush gardener. I am going to build a shelf right underneath that window, and then I'm gonna put potted plants, succulents, cactuses, things that don't die very easily, and I'm going to peek them from behind so that when you're in the office, then it looks like you were in a lush garden. Will it work? Who knows? For the built-in desk workstation, I found this really pretty terracotta paint on the internet, so I don't know what it looks like in real life, but in an ideal world, I would finish it in the terracotta so that that has a lot of depth to it, and then on the other side I would reupholster this comfy chair that I already have in order to have that red and green balance. This door I want to change instantly. It is so dark, there's barely a window in here, and so I want to replace this with a glass door so that I can have ambient light coming in. These are a placeholder for some DIY art, a bookshelf that just has things that I'm going to need often. It's really not there for anything other than function, and the fact that I already have that bookshelf. This bookshelf, however, this is exciting to me. This bookshelf is actually a Murphy door, which is going to push open into a secret room, basically a little speakeasy for the soul. I want to make like a little sacred meditation yoga space. No one is going to know that that goes into that room, but I will, and we love to have the secret. To finish this room out, this is the blueprint from my childhood home that I had hung over in the living room. I'm going to cover up this prison bar moment and cover the wall on that wood paneling, and that is where it'll go. That is the room as of today at right now o'clock. Can't make any promises after that because I have not lived that part of my life yet. Time to say goodbye. See you soon, bye! I'm MeganBatoon.